A federal high court in Abuja has prohibited the Vehicle Inspection Office, VIO, from stopping vehicles, impounding or confiscating them, and imposing fines on motorists. The judgment delivered by Justice Evelyn Maha on October 2nd was in response to a fundamental rights enforcement suit filed by human rights activist Abubakar Marshal.
The court ruled that VIO and its officials have no legal basis to stop, impound or confiscate vehicles or impose fines on motorists. Justice Maha described such actions as wrongful, oppressive and unlawful. A restraining order was issued against the VIO, the Director of Road Transport, Area Commander in Jabi, and Team Leader in Jabi, preventing them and their agents from impounding or confiscating vehicles and imposing fines. Joining us is legal practitioner and managing partner at Crest Cradle Attorneys, Samson Ojodomo Onuche. Good morning, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me on the program.
All right. I want us, to first of all, would like that you help us break down the infringement on the civil rights that was stated in the court. Help us understand what exactly the argument is here.
Okay. Now, what the action was about was that the matter was instituted for a breach of fundamental right of the applicants. Now, what it simply means was that the applicant applied to the court for the court to interpret if his fundamental right has been breached by the act of the VIO stopping and then restricting his movement by way of trying to impound his car or arrest or search the car or inspect the papers. So what the lawyer looked at, or the human rights activists who instituted this matter looked at, was that his rights has actually, right to freedom of movement, has been infringed by this particular body, that is the VIO. And he has it that he look at it that he has a right to actually pursue this infringement and of his right before the High Court. That's why he instituted this action under a fundamental rights suit for the court to actually interpret the provision of the law if his right has been infringed by the VIO. So that is what the action was all about.
Okay, and what legal basis was the VIO initially using to impound vehicles and impose fines? Because that has been going on for many years. And these fines have been paid to the state governments across the country.
Now, when you look at the VIO critically, one key thing that you will notice is that there is no law that has established the VIO in the FCT. What has gone on over the years was that the VIO has been operating under the delegated powers that has been given by the president to the minister of the FCT. Under such delegated power, the minister of FCT has the power to make rules that has to do with road traffic offenses within FCT. Now, the VIO, which is a directorate under the minister of FCT, has been operating under that delegated power, but there is no particular law that establishes the VIO. I know as at the last dispensation, there was a law that was trying to establish the VIO, and it went through almost the third reading, but it didn't skate through the process before that particular house was dissolved. So the VIO currently is operating under a delegated power that has been given to the Minister of FCT, but there is no specific law establishing the VIO or mandating the VIO to impound cars and also impose fine. So that is what is presently the status quo.
All right. So now the court has given judgments, that would ensure that going forward, this should not happen again. But there's no guarantee that this will not happen again if we know how things happen correctly. So what will be the next steps if the VIO still continues in part? I mean, I'm hoping that they adhere to the court's judgment. But what would be the next steps if the VIO still goes ahead to impound vehicles, and to administer fines against people who have allegedly committed traffic offenses?
Now, the position of the law is quite clear. If there is an infringement on your right and if somebody is going contrary to what the law has said, there are provisions of the law that allows you to actually enforce those rights in court and also to ensure that there is compliance. Now, if the VIO continues to infringe on this right and individuals and members of the society feels that their right has been infringed based on what is on ground, then they have the right to maintain an action against the VIO, and the court has the power to also impose the necessary sanction on the VIO. But I believe that they are law-abiding agency, and they will continue to abide by the ruling of the courts. So, and it's my belief that we will not fall down to that particular stage where people will no longer abide by the rules or by the judgment of the courts. So that's my belief.
So what happens now when you're driving tomorrow and the VIO stop you? Because according to the ruling, we're seeing here that the officials have no legal basis to stop, impound, or confiscate vehicles or impose fines on motorists. So what happens when they are trying to stop you or trying to impound the vehicle? What should the citizen at that point do?
I wouldn't advise that if your vehicle is trying to be impounded or seized, I wouldn't advise that you also go out of your way to break law and order. I would advise that you also comply, and there are also legal means in which you can enforce or you can actually push down your rights. So if your vehicle is being impounded by the VIO or your movement is being restricted by the VIO, there are legal means in which you can pursue such rights. So I wouldn't advise that any citizen go around, break down law and order by trying to forcefully see how the VIO can comply. So it is not within their power. There are other legal means that you can go about in enforcing your rights. So that is my advice.
Yeah, but just to be clear, every state has its traffic laws. Like Lagos State, for example, has its own traffic laws. Who then is meant to enforce those laws? If the court rules that VIO cannot impound, cannot fine, cannot, hold anyone liable for breaking traffic rules and regulations. Because even if you look at the Lagos State Vehicle Inspection Service, it says here, Lagos State Vehicle Inspection Service, popularly known as V Inspection Unit, I believe it's the same thing with VIO, they wear the same uniform, established in 2012 by the Lagos State Governor, Babajide. It says the Vehicle Inspection Service is one of the enforcement agencies of the state government responsible for implementing the compliance on road traffic laws. So, I mean, there seems to be some friction here with both views.
Now, one thing that we will try to understand is that when it comes to road traffic rules, these are matters that are not within the exclusive list that only the federal government can address. It is matters that fall under, it is not even on the concurrent list that the federal and the state government can address. These are matters that falls under, that are residual powers that the state government has the power to make laws that will bind the citizens of such states on those issues. Now, if Lagos has made a law, a traffic law, and then that law has passed through the Lagos State House of Assembly, then that law binds the people in Lagos, and the law is binding within Lagos. So you will understand that the law in Lagos does not bind the people in Abuja, because each state governor has the right to make laws that has to do with these traffic offenses. And in the FCT, who makes this law, it has to be or come from the Minister of FCT, and it has to go through the House of Representatives for this law to be assented. So the law in Lagos State, there is no problem with the law in Lagos State if it has actually gone through the process and the House of Assembly in Lagos State has assented this law, and an agency has been created in Lagos.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that this ruling doesn't affect the whole country, it's just in Abuja.
It's just in Abuja, yes. I will clearly say that this ruling does not affect the whole country. It only affects Abuja.
Okay. I think it was important that we clarify that, because the way the story was told initially, it sounded like, across the whole country, VIO can no longer stop, or impound or impose fines on motorists. And so I think it was important that we clarify that. And so Lagos State residents or Benue State or Delta State residents would then have to maybe approach the courts in their states to see if they would also get a favorable ruling in that case. Is that what we think would happen next?
Yes, that's true. That's the position.
Okay. All right. It's been quite. We'll of course see how things turn out. We're hoping to see what will happen in other parts of the country, because I'm sure that there are other people in other parts of the country that had been rejoicing initially until they now found out that it's just Abuja and the bubble has been burst. Samson Ojodomo Onuche, the legal practitioner and managing partner at Crest Cradle Attorneys, thank you very much for your time with us this morning.
Thank you for having me on the program.